Today we are going to talk about brand management. The subcomponents of brand management are the description of branding, brand components and various issues related to brand management such as rebranding and co-branding. Let us now deep dive into crucial issues of brand management. If you look at the current market scenario, there are a number of products and services, and most of the products and services are similar in nature. For example, go to different brands of burgers, they look same. Different brands of pizzas look same. Even automobiles in terms of performance are same, and restaurants or movie complexes. There is a lot of similarity in various products and services. Another example is, if you look at a knee surgery conducted by various hospitals, it is more or less same. But then in such a similar world, how can we differentiate one product from the other? So, we are going to address that wonderful crucial point today through branding. So, brand name or effective brand management is one such wonderful way in which a firm can differentiate its products and services. What is a brand? This is actually a very known concept. There is hardly anybody who does not know about this, but let us have an understanding of what is branding. Brand is something which is built over a period of time. For example, if you look at the brands such as Tata, that is built over more than a century, correct? So, brand is something which builds relationship with customers. If you look at the banks, they are building lifelong relationship with their customers. Airlines are building long lasting relationships with the customers. So, brands actually build relationships with the customers, and this relationship is a long lasting one. It will not end in a couple of years. That is where we dive into a concept called customer lifetime value. And if you look at the current telecom scenario, the telecom companies are giving a lifetime telecom connection. So, whose lifetime is it? As far as possible or as long as possible, you would like to retain the customer. So, a good brand builds a long life relationships with the customers. And then what is also a brand? A brand is something where the customers associate themselves with. Go to a youth who owns Harley Davidson bike. He associates himself, his lifestyle with Harley Davidson. Go to a girl and she would associate herself with Fair and Lovely brand. So, brand is something which people associate themselves with. If you look at some luxury brands such as Swarovski, the owner associates himself or herself with the brand. For example, a student who graduated from a premier university associates himself or herself with that university. So, that is exactly what is called as a customer associating himself or herself with the brand. Another meaning of brand, if you see, it negotiates itself. For example, if you would like to buy Nike shoes, the brand itself talks about the quality and the standards that it follows in sneakers. So, a good brand negotiates itself. And what is the core of marketing, dear learners? The core of marketing is delivering value. McDonald's is doing what? It is delivering tasty and healthy food very quickly. So, what is Toyota delivering? Toyota is delivering economy cars, correct? So, every marketer is doing nothing but delivering value. So, if you look at the complete meaning of branding, a brand is something which builds long term relationships with its customers, and its customers associate themselves with that particular brand, and brand itself negotiates, and a good brand delivers value, and this happens throughout the lifespan. Whose lifespan am I talking about? The lifespan of the marketer. So, or as long as the customer uses the brand. So, by this time you must have understood that brands are something very important in marketing. It is not just a brand name, it is something greater than mere giving a name. Let us go deeper and understand something more about the importance of branding, I would like to conduct a small test here. Dear viewers, I have presented a t-shirt and I am asking you whether you would like to buy this t-shirt. You could say that you were not interested in buying, or if you are interested, you could also quote a price. When I have conducted this research with some of my learners, half of the class they preferred not to buy this shirt, and another half of the class have quoted very low price for this shirt if they had to buy. The reason is that they are not certain of the quality of the shirt, that the texture and the design and various other features of the particular product. That could be a reason why half of them preferred not to buy and half of them have quoted lower price. Now, please tell me, I have added a brand to it. Would you like to buy this? If yes, how much would you like to pay? Once again, when I have conducted this test, half of the class which preferred not to buy before as an unbranded shirt now preferred to buy. So, branding is actually creating a market, and the other half of the class that have quoted lower price have slightly increased their price. So, it's a wonderful demonstration of how much value brands add. Now, it's not about selling, dear learners. Let me tell you very clearly that it's not about making more money. In fact, marketing never talks about making more money. Marketing centers around fulfilling the customer's needs and wants and delivering value. So, the half of the class that did not prefer to buy, now they are certain of the quality standards that are maintained. They know that this would be a right shirt for sports purpose, and the other half of the class that quoted lower price probably must have thought of the texture and the quality and the service and the lifetime of this particular shirt. So, this is evident of the importance of branding. Now, we can understand why companies add branding to their marketing efforts. Now, after understanding some of these examples, let us look at the meaning of brand. What is a brand? This is very important to learn, because we need to learn further about something called as rebranding or improving the brand name. In such case, this particular definition really adds value. So, kindly pay some attention on this and try to learn the meaning of brand name. What is a brand name? Once again, it appears to be that everybody knows about the meaning of a brand name, but from the subject point of view, a brand name includes what? A name. Means take Coca-Cola is a name, SBI is a name, Air India or Indigo, Pizza Hut, Mahindra, these are the names. So, essentially you need to give a name. According to Philip Kotler, as products, as children, according to Philip Kotler, as children are to parents, products are to companies. Means what? Have we ever come across a parent who has not given a name to his or her child? I don't think so. Some name or the other has to be given, because you have to identify the product. Similarly, though there is a revolution on unbranded products, it is very hard and difficult to find unbranded goods. These days, almost every product and service is branded or is given a name. So, brand name essentially includes giving a name, and then it also includes having a logo. If you look at McDonald's, McDonald's is the name, and two golden arches, if you see, that is the logo. And along with the logo, you have something called as symbol, you can see here. Meaning what? Along with the logo, some companies design additional symbols so that the brand name becomes more popular and more identifiable. Next time when you go to McDonald's, you will see Uncle Donald's effigy there, a statue like symbol put in front of the store. So, that is also called as a symbol. So, brand name includes what? A name, a logo, a symbol, and it is written in a particular font type. For example, Coca-Cola is written in a particular way, and it is written everywhere like that. Sony is written in all capitals, it is written everywhere like that. So, brand name includes the name, a logo, symbol, and a particular way that particular name is written, font type, and colors associated with it. If you see, SBI is associated with blue color, Karachi Bakery is associated with purple and blue color, KFC is associated with red color. Most of the brands have some major or a dominant color associated with its brand. So, that color is also a part of the brand name, and most of the brands have punchline or slogan. For example, KFC, finger licking good. So, that is the slogan. Wherever KFC goes, that slogan goes. So, all these components put together is what is called as a brand name. When these components of a brand name are protected by the government and registered, then that becomes a trademark. So, now you must have understood the difference between a brand name and a trademark. A brand name which is registered becomes a trademark. Now, I told you that understanding these brand components or brand name components is important. Now, why? There is a common question. Why do we need a brand name? Can't we market the product without any name? Why do we need create awareness and popularity for our brand name? Here are some of the examples that we need to look at. There are some of the reasons why a brand name is required. A brand name is required because you need to differentiate your product from others. If you recall, in the beginning of the session, I said that this world is full of similar products and services. When most of the goods are similar, how will you differentiate yourself? The name differentiates yourself. So, you need a brand name for that. And also, a good brand name simplifies the buying process and buying decision. For example, a youth or a middle-aged person has decided to go for morning walk, then he zeroes it on a particular brand of sneakers and sports shoe. He says Adidas is a good shoe or Nike is a good shoe. How did he decide upon that so quickly? Because at the back of his mind, Nike is a sports shoe and it makes his walking so convenient. So, actually brand name added to his decision making. So, brand name simplifies the buying decision, and brand name also gives adds to various issues, such as it gives you information about the brand components. If you look at a golden credit card by, for example, say ICICI. So, this particular credit card has international recognition, means you can use the credit card across the world. So, it will also give you some information even without browsing or seeking any additional messages. And a number of brands, they ensure quality. For example, Tata stands for durability and quality. You need not persuade anyone that Tata about the Tata's quality. So, in that way, branding is actually important. Let us look at some more definitions and meaning of branding with some additional examples. I have brought to you 3 different brands which are very common and very popular. That is the reason I have chosen these brands, but for no other reason. So, McDonald's, Nike and Damas. One is a food brand, the other is a sneakers shoe brand, and the other is a jewelry brand. Once again, if you go through this slide, it will clearly explain that a brand name is nothing but the name that you give and the way that you write and the logo associated with it and the colors associated with it. And what is branding? Doing a very effective brand management is nothing but branding. You put the brand in customer's mind and make the customers trust, believe your brand. That is what is branding. There are several other issues that we need to understand while trying to evaluate the concept of branding. First one is brand image. Yes, a brand stands for what? For example, convenience. Opening an account in ICICI Bank is very quick and convenient, or buying online, buying food on Swiggy is more convenient. So, brand image refers to various features that are put in customer's mind, or what this brand stands for. In simple terms, I can say that brand image is nothing but brand essence, what the brand stands for. For example, Volvo means safety, Toyota means economy, Tata is a trustworthy brand. So, a brand image is nothing but the brand value that is put in customer's mind over a period of time. Now, every brand has an objective to achieve, and they try to fulfill that objective through the brand image. If you look at the luxury brands, their brand image is not to create a low price image, but to create a very high value image. That is why if you look at their advertisements, they may not talk about the price, because it is a high priced, high value item. The focus is more on creating exclusivity and trying to create a brand which is different from the normal or regular brands. So, brand image is something that you put in customer's mind. Another topic in branding that we need to understand is brand sponsorship. Here I will show you some good examples of brand sponsorship. If you look at Westside and Voltas, two brands I brought today to explain the concept of brand sponsorship. What is brand sponsorship? When a company claims that this brand belongs to them, that is what is called as brand sponsorship. For example, next time when you are walking by on the road, be cautious of the traffic, but look at the west side board or showroom. It is written at a corner that this brand belongs to Tata, Chroma Tata Enterprise, or go to this Voltas refrigerator, it is written on the corner that it is a Tata's product. Why is Tata endorsing this brand? It is actually leveraging upon the existing brand image. There is already an established brand image in people's mind about Tata. Tata stands for trust, Tata stands for durability, Tata stands for effectively delivering the brand value. So, this Tata company would like to use this image in marketing Westside. That is why Tata very clearly says Chroma belongs to Tata, Westside belongs to Tata. This is what is called as brand sponsorship. Brand sponsorship refers to a particular company, an organization claiming that a brand belongs to itself. Some companies may not prefer to sponsor the brand. For example, when Toyota has launched Lexus, let us look at Toyota's brand image. Toyota since beginning has been positioned as economy brand. That is amazing. In fact, through that image it has become #1 car maker in the world. So, now when Toyota has decided to introduce a luxury brand, then the company's management thought that this new brand may not go in line with the existing brand. That is why while promoting Lexus, they will not sponsor the brand. Toyota will not sponsor, will not show that Lexus belongs to me. That is something amazing. It is a very good strategy. In fact, Nissan does not sponsor Infinity brand. It is a very good strategy not to sponsor a brand. So, what did we understand here? It is good to sponsor a brand so that it adds value to your new brands. It is also not good to sponsor a brand. Another topic is brand positioning. This is something amazing, dear students, because every organization, every marketing firm does this. What is brand positioning? Brand positioning refers to placing the brand in the predetermined orbit of customer's mind. For example, if I would like to position my brand as a luxury good, I put it in the customer's mind as a luxury good. Brand positioning is putting the brand in the predetermined orbit of customer's mind. What is brand positioning? Brand positioning refers to placing the brand in the predetermined orbit of customer's mind. Let me give you an example, a hypothetical example. Let me say I have decided to launch a healthy restaurant, healthy pizza house for example. So, I deliver pizzas which are healthy pizzas. Now, I have to position that my restaurant is a health restaurant. So, like this I have to put it in the customer's mind. How do I do that? Right from choosing a brand name. For example, instead of choosing the name such as Tasty or Zest, I may probably choose a name that more reflects health and long life. So, actually the positioning starts there. Let me cook up a story. I have decided to open a health based restaurant, and the name of my restaurant is healthy and happy, H and H, let me say. So, now the name refers to, it actually starts with health, and outside food actually adds entertainment value. So, and keeps consumers happy. So, healthy and happy, they go together. So, my name itself is referring to the health, and then the way I design the menu and the way I promote my services. For example, I say that I use eco-friendly ways of cleaning utensils, or the spoons that I serve can be consumed. Wow, that's an amazing strategy, dear learners. I am trying to position my restaurant in the people's mind as a more healthier and more eco-friendly restaurant, for example. And throughout my advertisements, I will not, probably I may not refer to or mention the price, but I may mention more clearly and specifically the healthy ingredients that I put that go into my food and my dishes. I may talk about the more healthier ways that are performed, clean and process the food items that are used in cooking, and that should happen consistently over a period of time. That is exactly what is brand positioning. And let me assume, if I keep doing, let me say for a decade, my brand H and H restaurant is positioned in the people's mind as a health food or healthy restaurant. It would probably attract those customers or that segment of customers who prefer a healthy food while having a wonderful outing experience. So, that is what is called as brand positioning. I put brand in the customer's mind, and that goes into the long term memory of the customers. But the story does not end there, dear learners. These days we could see a lot of repositioning happening. That is what makes marketing more and more dynamic. There is actually no end to marketing. Once I positioned my restaurant as health based restaurant, probably I may have to add more entertainment services. Let me say I have added a kids zone. So, let me assume in the past decade my health based restaurant has attracted only middle aged and senior aged citizens, but now I want younger families too to visit my restaurant. Probably I may have to reposition my restaurant brand in the people's mind. So, what is repositioning? Remove the brand from the orbit that you have placed and put it in a new orbit, or put it in a new place in the customer's mind. In this example, you may reposition your brand as a more family entertaining brand than mere health based. So, while you focus on health, now you in your advertisements you show younger families walking into the store, or kids birthdays are celebrated. Why not? Health and entertainment, they always should go together. So, this is how I reposition my brand. So, repositioning is putting the brand in the customer's mind as something new or something different. But be cautious that you need not kill the existing or the previous brand image. When we talk about branding, usually my students ask me, what happens when marketers face difficulties? Can branding come to the rescue? Can branding provide solutions to some of the difficult situations faced by the marketers? The answer is yes. I brought this wonderful learning for you, dear learners. Kindly see this. For example, if the issue is rejection, meaning if customers are increasingly rejecting your brand or switching from your brand to the other brand, you know that the customer defection happens. It is a very common problem being faced by marketers. customers switch from one brand to the other brand. You may frequently visit a particular mall, but you may drop that and may start visiting another mall, or you might have changed your brand of perfume or footwear or a brand of pen that you are using. So, customers do defect brands and reject brands. We need to look at the reasons for it, but how branding helps in this situation. If a company faces rejection, branding says that change position. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, these are wonderful brands. Imagine they are surviving for the past more than 120 years, dear learners. How have they been doing it? Each time they face any difficulty in the market, they change the position. People think increasingly that colas are bad for health. Yeah. When Coca-Cola and Pepsi face rejection difficulties due to consumers thinking, let me say, more negative about their brands. If consumers think that colas have a lot of sugar and not good for health, what did these companies do? They have launched more fruit variants and they positioned their brands as more healthier and happier brands. It's very good. Even if you look at the nationalized government banks like State Bank of India, State Bank of India has repositioned itself, changed its position from a mere government bank to a private bank. The type of customer support that they provide is something amazing. So, if the issue is rejection, then probably the solution is change position. Now, another issue is non-recognition, meaning a newly introduced brand may not have enough awareness in the market. So, customers may not recognize the brand. In such case, branding helps in increasing awareness. See how branding helps in marketing the product more effectively. Now, let me say customers have recognized your brand. For example, think of Tata. Does anyone not know Tata? Is anyone there in the market who does not know Tata? Everybody knows. There is a high recognition. Then in case of high recognition, do you still need branding? Yes, continue education. Keep focusing more and more and try to reiterate your brand in the customer's mind. Now, when the customers are preferring your brand, and the strategy is you should maintain availability, make the product more and more available. And when the customers are insisting on your brand, for example, more and more customers are, let me say, joining your university, what is that you should do? Yes, leverage on high brand equity and try to expand. That is the reason why Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University has been expanding from one educational program to the other educational program, because more and more students are now insisting to study in this wonderful university. So, in this way, branding actually adds value to the overall marketing effort.